With spring training games starting in a few days, I feel that now is a good time to go over some of the things to look out for when watching these spring training games, especially the position battles. The Mets have had a very busy offseason, didn't get all the players that we had wanted, but they invited over 70 players to spring training. Now, as you know, there is a 26-man roster in the major leagues. Yes, you have your 40-man roster, and plenty of the guys invited are prospects, so they don't have any intentions of making the major league team. There's still going to be plenty of battles for some spots on the major league roster, and then just for other players, some veterans that the Mets have invited, they want to fight for major league jobs. If it's not with the Mets, with some other organization. So we're going to be in for a very exciting spring training with a lot of guys really competing and trying their absolute best. If you enjoyed this video, kind of doing a preview of what to look forward to during some New York Met games, make sure to leave a like, comment down below. What players and position battles are you really locked onto? What spring training invites really stand out to you that you're going to be watching very carefully? I'm very curious to hear what you guys think about that. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe. Definitely makes my day. So let's talk about these position battles. We'll start off with the last bench spot, and I believe that is going to be a battle between Albert Almora Jr. and Jose Martinez. Now, the Mets had signed Jose Martinez first. That was a pretty solid signing at the time. The Mets didn't really have any big-time right-handed hitter off the bench, and Jose Martinez, yes, he had the down year in 2020, but for his career, he has been a very good hitter, especially against left-handed pitching. With the addition of Kevin Pillar, I feel that Jose Martinez's role took a big hit, and now he's just going to fight to just have a spot on this team. And also because the Kevin Pillar signing, that affects Albert Almora Jr., who is going to be brought on to be a late game defensive replacement. But now you have another guy that plays the outfield. You can only have so many outfielders on your bench. So I think that is going to be a battle between Almora and Jose Martinez. Now, Almora, like Martinez, had a very bad year in 2020. Almora finished the year with the 167 average, and as we've talked about before, but ever since that foul ball incident, hasn't really been the same player. You know, when he first came up, he was a pretty big prospect, doing very well for the Cubs, and his offense has declined very rapidly, and it looks like his defense might be slipping too. So Almora does not have the value he used to. And then for Jose Martinez, this was a guy that was raking with the St. Louis Cardinals. I mean, he had a year in 2018 where he batted .305. Ever since then, the offense has gone down, and in 2020, he was not good at all. So both these guys, I mean, they're going to be trying to get major league jobs. Again, even if it's not with the Mets, one of these guys are going to make the team. And if it was up to me, as of right now, I lean Albert Almora just because of the defense. I feel that, again, Kevin Pillar really makes Jose Martinez kind of useless. And I just don't see him having much playing time on this team because Jose Martinez, his defense is not great. If there was any position I'm going to play Jose Martinez at, it would be first base. And I can't do that because I have Pete Alonso. And if I'm not using Alonso at first, I'm probably using Dom Smith. So this is a battle that I lean to Almora. But if Jose Martinez is raking in spring training, his bat looks great again, and Albert Almora still can't hit very well, and Pillar's defense is okay, that it could be good enough for late game defensive replacement, then Jose Martinez can win that battle. But that definitely is one to watch. One of these guys will have a spot on the major league team. The next battle I want to talk about is the fifth starter in the starting rotation. Now, to me, I didn't really think this was a battle. I thought this was going to be David Pearson. But today on Twitter, MLB tweeted out the rosters for the National League East, and they had Joey Lucchesi as the number 5 starter, not David Peterson. So that definitely means that there is going to be a battle between these two guys. Yes, you could throw Jordan Yamamoto into the mix, but I do think that Peterson and Lucchesi are both a step above him, especially David Peterson. So I do think it's going to be mostly between those two guys. Now, as Met fans, we saw every start that David Pearson made last year in his rookie year, and he looked very, very good. You know, finishing the year with a 3.44 ERA. I mean, as a rookie in the COVID season, he missed a couple of weeks at one point in time. So I was very impressed with David Pearson offered as a rookie. I like his stuff. By the way, David Pearson moves the ball around. He doesn't just go to one spot over and over. He challenges hitters. He's willing to throw inside, which not a lot of pitchers want to do. So I like that about David Peterson. You know, 6'6" lefty. He's got a mean slider. So I like what I saw from David Pearson. Lucchesi had the down year in 2020. Didn't get to pitch all that much and finished with a 7.94 ERA. So as of right now, I lean David Pearson because for me, I lean to the guy who's been successful as a Met. Being successful in the major leagues is one thing, but being successful as a Met is a totally other thing because that is no guarantee. We've seen so many players come to the Mets and they're not the same player that they were before. But the fact that Pearson performed as a Met, I lean towards him. But these guys will be back in spring training. If both of them are good, but Joey Lucchesi Lucchesi is better, both of these guys have minor league options. So whoever doesn't win the battle, they could end up in AAA or maybe even in the bullpen, because with the Seth Lugo injury, if one of these guys really do pitch well and they pitch better than all the relievers that are going to be battling for spots, which we'll get to next, maybe you'll enjoy Lucchesi for the bullpen. So let's talk about the bullpen, and this is going to be a huge battle because I do believe that there definitely is an opening in that bullpen with Brad Brock being released, and again with Seth Lugo being injured, and the Mets didn't sign any of the relievers to major league contracts. There's going to be a lot of guys fighting for a spot, and there are a lot of pitchers on this 40-man roster. The guys to watch are Jacob Barnes, Jerry Blevins, Riley Gilliam, Trevor Hildenberg, Tommy Hunter, Sam McWilliams, Tyler McGill, Mike Montgomery, Sean Reed Foley, Drew Smith, Arodys Vizcaíno, even Daniel Zamora. So there are a ton of pitchers for that bullpen. If it's not even for a bullpen spot, somebody like Tommy Hunter, who has spent time on the major league level, if he's not going to be with the Mets in the major leagues, maybe he'll be with another team. So I really do see a lot of these guys battling it out. The guy that I think might make the team is Sam McWilliams, just because I feel that the Mets feel very highly about him. He was one of the first guys that the Mets went after. Looks like he has pretty good stuff. His velocity is up there, so I'm curious to see what he could do. But I think that Drew Smith is another guy that has a really good chance of making this team, because he has spent time in the major leagues as a Met. Good moments, bad moments. How will he recover from the injury? We're going to find out. Definitely is a huge year for Drew Smith. If he really wants to be on their major league level, this is the year for him to do it. And plenty of people talk about how good he is. Prove it to me. Prove it to me on the big league level. Another guy that I wouldn't sleep on is Jacob Barnes, because the Mets picked him up. He has survived all the different transactions that the Mets have done, all the guys that they've taken off of the 40-man roster. Jacob Barnes has remained on there. So the Mets must really see something in him. I definitely think he's going to get a fair chance at spring training, and he has a shot to make the bullpen. The next position that could be a battle, depending on how the players play, is third base. Now, we know that throughout the course of the offseason, the Mets haven't shown that much confidence in J.D. Davis, just with some of the things they've said and the rumors that were out there that maybe they were looking to make a trade at third base, all the different names that were thrown out there. They've gotten better lately. You know, Zach Scott has come out and said, no, we feel really good about J.D. Davis and all that, and I get that. But I think that when you have somebody like Jonathan Villar on your roster, who also had a very good 2019, he's somebody that could give J.D. Davis a little bit of push over there at third base. We know that Villar had the bad year in 2020, but again, in 2019, this is a guy that hit 24 home runs, had a 274 average, and stole 40 bases. I mean, J.D. Davis is not going to steal 40 bases. You're lucky if J.D. Davis could steal 4 bases. So that is a big element of speed that he provides, and he's a switch hitter. Now, as far as defense, neither one of them are great defensively, so nobody's really going to have an edge there. And J.D. Davis had a very good year in 2019 and in the limited playing time. Having the 307 average and the 22 home runs, that definitely was pretty encouraging from JD, and he definitely got better as the year progressed. But in 2020, he got worse as the year progressed. 2020 is so hard to evaluate, such a short season, so many different elements that were going on. Again, pretty much everybody had down years. So I think that if Jonathan Villar significantly outplays JD Davis, which he probably won't, but if he does, I think Villar has a chance. Another guy not to sleep on is Luis Guillorme, who ended up finishing 2020 with a 333 average. And before Todd Frazier arrived, his average was over 400. At one point in the middle of August, he had a 474 average, and it just got lower and lower because his playing time diminished, and Luis Guillorme wasn't out there as much. It messed up his rhythm. So if Guillorme, he gets some playing time spring training, if he's batting close to 400 again, or he's batting over 300, and if JD or Jonathan Villar are blowing you away, we know that Guillorme has a advantage defensively. Whoever plays the best out of the three will be the starting third baseman. Right now, it's probably going to be JD, but you never know what could happen if these other guys really perform very well. Now, the next thing to keep in mind are these veteran players that the Mets added that are guys that are just fighting to be on a major league roster, even if it isn't with the Mets. I mentioned Tommy Hunter because he's an older guy, but another guy that stands out to me is somebody like Jose Peraza. It looks like he's not going to be on the major league team, but I imagine he's going to try his best in spring training to be on a major league team. And I believe the same goes for somebody like Malik Smith. He definitely has not been nearly as good as he was, so he wants to try his best in spring training to show that, hey, I can still play on the big league level. I also think you could put Brandon Drury into that equation. He's another guy that has spent time on the big league level. Doesn't really have a role on this team. He wants to be in the major leagues somewhere. So again, he's going to be trying his best. And then obviously the other thing to be excited for in spring training is seeing these big prospects play. We're going to get to see Matthew Allen, see Francisco Alvarez, Ronnie Mauricio, Brett Beatty, maybe even P. Crow Armstrong. I'm extremely excited to see what these guys could do in game action. So those are some of the things to watch. Again, let me know what you guys are going to be looking out for. And also let me know what you would like to see over the weekend for either Subscriber Saturday or Sunday. We'll see what day the video is posted. But give me some suggestions that you would like to see. And until the next one, be safe, be smart, be healthy, and let's go Mets.